Hey guys, now that we've played through the entire campaign for Earth Defense Force 2025, we felt it was a very appropriate time to do some kind of post-mortem slash review kind of thing. Before we get into that though, we just want to thank everyone who's watched, commented on and liked our videos for the game. It's helped us get a ton of exposure and we really appreciate it. We seem to grow with every game we do, but obviously we wouldn't be able to do it without your support, and although we make these videos for fun, we do have aspirations for the channel and we want to provide the content that you guys want to watch. So, that's where we're at the moment. Anyway, so yeah, Earth Defense Force 2025. How do you feel now that we've gone through all 94 missions?
Exhausted. I mean, there were 94 missions. We only expected, what, like 80 something in the initially, didn't we? And even that was from us finding some research and stuff on it and actually looking into the game more. But, I mean, how many hours did we do?
A lot. There were a lot of hours.
Oh yeah, and some of the missions, well, some of the missions were quite long, weren't they? I mean, there were a lot of short ones as well, so I suppose it did kind of fragment itself up. But there was a lot of the same old thing, a lot of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think, well, there's only a certain amount of enemies that they can have in the game.
Yeah.
And, they do kind of change colour or change attacks and stuff like that, but I think it was an interesting one because I can't really think of too many other missions or many other games of this nature, because obviously in the Monster Hunter kind of have loads of missions.
Yeah.
But not many games like this have as many missions and still keep it fresh, because there aren't really that many maps either.
No, I suppose we didn't really get that bored. And there was what, maybe 7 or 8 environments.
Yeah, and I think it's quite funny because I think when we were about halfway through, maybe probably about mission 50 or something, people were commenting like, how many missions are there in this game?
Yeah. No, it is insane. And it does require a huge amount of time investment. And I mean, not just with normal. I mean, like if you play on normal difficulty, you're basically going to have to play through the game, 3 more times in order to experience everything.
Yeah, the whole trophy and achievement thing is a bit of a joke.
Yeah, it is a bit extreme.
Not that we were playing to try and platinum it, because that takes time investment.
Yeah, but I like doing that in games, and this one is definitely one of those ones where I had to look at it and kind of go, yeah, I probably don't have the time needed to do this at all, because it's just unfeasible amounts of hours and things.
Yeah, I think we both kind of had that question when we took a look at it. I think if it was one of those systems where it had the kind of degradation, like if you complete on the hard difficulties, you get the earlier trophies too. Like it wouldn't have been so bad. But obviously we found out quite quickly that this game, you need a lot of armor.
Yes.
And we didn't really have the time to invest in getting that armor. Like, we were playing on hard difficulty and we thought that was, not too bad. We attempted, I think, trying hardest and in Inferno as well. At one point we were trying to catch up to where we got to so that we could up the difficulty, moving forward, but we decided against that. And I think that was a good decision.
Well, hardest we got up to what, 30 in the end. But I think we had to skip some missions just because they were literally impossible. We just got overwhelmed.
For the armor that we had, at least, anyway.
Yeah. And just the amount of grinding that we did to try and get that up, it was just basically, it's too much time investment.
Yeah, I mean, the harder difficulty is definitely something. I have a lot of respect for the people that are being able to do it on Inferno, especially by themselves, because we were playing the game co-op. Yeah. And even at sometimes that was difficult. There are missions that we have failed even doing on hard mode. But obviously, we were really scraping the barrel with our armor. We organically picked up a lot of our armor. I think we maybe did a bit of farming for a couple of hours here and there. But other than that, the amount of armor that we had was pretty much just what we picked up in missions. And I think we went through a big phase as well where we didn't even really think about picking any up, which was a massive mistake.
Yeah, we did do that quite a lot. But I mean, it's just difficult because some of the missions, the armor just got scattered around so far across the map that you weren't really in the position to go pick it up. At least not for video purposes anyway.
No, that would have been quite boring. So, oh yeah, just go and pick up these crates and...
But it does seem the scaling in normal to hard and hardest and whatever. If you did all those from the beginning of the game and collected armor all the way through them, you still wouldn't have enough armor to do the hardest missions or Inferno. I mean, hardest maybe, but Inferno definitely not. You'd still have to do copious amounts of farming. And it just seems a bit... I don't know, there should have been some kind of scaling factor for armor on difficulty, as opposed to it being the same for an armor crate equals 0. Whatever it is. And easy and the same on Inferno.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously I played as a ranger and Nelson was playing as an air ranger. I think they had similar armor ratios, right? So
yeah, they were basically the same.
like that was at least a good thing for us. I think if we'd have played as like a wing diver and a fencer, we might have had a few issues.
Well, our armor would have been about twice as high on the
not
fencer
if we're a wing diver.
No, the wing diver would have been half as well.
Exactly. So that could have been interesting, but like the weapons they got obviously compensate for that, and there's different play styles and stuff like that. And I do kind of regret going for the default one.
Default class.
Yeah, I mean obviously it was like good in some ways because like the weapons that the ranger gets are quite cool, but I also felt like it was a bit boring sometimes. Just because like there wasn't really that much deviation. I guess it's the same for you as well. Like earlier in our videos, people were complaining about the weapons you were using and like how bad they were and how like you weren't really doing anything and all this kind of stuff, which did stop after a while.
Yeah.
But I think that was part of the core because I very much stuck to what's gonna get me through this mission, like what's gonna enable me to win, and it meant that I just didn't really have much variation in the weapons I was able to use because a lot of them are crap.
Well, I think that's because of the part of the difficulty thing. A lot of them are kind of gimmicky, or they offer some kind of benefit that isn't necessarily a benefit. Like they have a really impactful amount of damage spread or something like that, but then it's got like a ridiculous reload, or you can only fire it once, or I don't know.
I think that's the good thing about playing like getting up to that level of Inferno, because obviously the weapons that we were using were only up to maximum of 50. Yeah. And just from what we saw from the progression in weapons from when we started up to where we were at the end, it just makes me wonder what the next tier of weapons was going to be, and like how insane they were.
When we played on Inferno, we had a couple of new things and bits and pieces to try, but they're only like level 50 something. And one of the mechs I had just had a ridiculous amount of missiles it could fire. It just like obliterate the entire area, and it's just crazy strong. But then that's only 50 something, so what the hell's the stuff like at 60? And as far as we can tell, the enemies don't really get tougher through the game, so I guess if you had a level 100 weapons, or level 90, whatever it is...
Yeah, the people that are doing Inferno, that's clearly how they're able to get through. Like, they've obviously got the armor, but they also have like the level 80 weapons, which are enabling them to just kind of mow through stuff. And the Inferno for them is how hard it was for us. Because we basically had all the weapons in advance of when we were supposed to have them, whereas when we're doing Inferno, we're trying to use the weapons that we were using on hard difficulty, and it's a bit of a struggle.
Although the armour does factor into that as well. Obviously, if you had 10,000 armour on Inferno, you're probably going to struggle more than someone who has, say, 30,000, 40,000. But I don't know how you're supposed to get those values. Apparently there isn't even an armour cap. I mean, there is, but it's based on what the programming hex code can give to or something ridiculous. Which I think is something like 2.something billion or whatever. That's how you're supposed to physically consider farming even 1 million, let alone that.
I think the weapons are one of the things that really highlighted like how fun this game is to me. I remember when I first got the Stampede or the Stamper, like that massive grenade launcher, and I just went back to the first level and just destroyed the entire town or city, and it was just so much fun. Like whenever you got an explosive weapon, and I think you started experiencing this a bit later on when you're using those mechs, you just fire a load of stuff, and you just see like ant legs or spider parts like flying everywhere, and it's so satisfying. And then when you get the slowdown coming in as well, which I think in most games slowdown is usually seen as a massive negative, whereas in this it was just kind of like, oh yeah, that is doing some serious damage. Yeah, and you know it's doing damage.
The slowdown isn't really that bad. The frame rate drops aren't really that bad. But the only issue when it becomes a bit of a problem is when you're kind of overwhelmed by everything and you're trying to move, and it's like you're kind of just struggling to move in like 5 centimeters or rotate or something. But generally, when you're the one causing it, that's the best stuff about it. It actually does add to the gameplay. It does add to the experience.
So how do you feel about the enemies throughout?
I mean, most of them are pretty unique in terms of what they can do. I know they don't really add a lot of variation. You get like the small spiders, the big spiders, you get the ants, the different kinds. I think there's only 2 though, isn't there?
I think from the thing that kind of not necessarily confused me, but maybe it disappointed me a little bit was how they introduced enemies throughout the game. Like it seemed as though from maybe the first 30 or 40 missions there wasn't like that much variety. So like you've got the normal ants, you've got the red ants, you've got the jumping spiders, you've got the Rotarius, and you started getting like the Hectors and stuff. But then, like, you didn't really see a giant anything for a while, and like it seems like in the last like 15 missions they just kind of dumped a load of stuff on you. It's like, oh, you're going to fight all these giant things, you've got like...
I think it was longer than that. I think we just started to progress through missions more quickly and stuff, but they actually
because dragons came in about like 60-ish, right?
Yeah, they did.
And then from that point on, they started introducing a load of variations and stuff. But or like you'd see stuff that then didn't really ever appear again. Like for example, like the red drones, like they probably make maybe like 3 or 4 missions out of 90. Like I don't know, it's super strange.
Yeah, there wasn't so many of those,
which I'm thankful for. But I don't know, it just seemed like the last maybe 10 missions, they just kind of introduced a load of stuff. Like when that mission when they made us fight against all the giant monsters, but like we didn't really see that many before that. I don't know.
No. But they did like to use... Well, they were reusing bosses a lot, and they were kind of making it so that you didn't kill it, or it ran away, or the mission just ended because you killed all the reinforcements, and it's just like... like the Fortress made so many more appearances, and then we only ended up killing it, like, what, mission 70 something? I don't remember when exactly it was, but it was really late into the game.
And that was an annoying mission too.
Yes, it was. But then they ended up having the big giant battleship, which featured in like 2 missions pretty much relatively close to each other, and there was the big dragon, which again, pretty much almost back to back, because he appeared with the other big stuff. Giant spiders became a bit of a theme for a couple of missions.
Yeah, I think there was like maybe 3 of those.
And then the giant wasps, which just, they didn't really seem that impactful. They had one
I think the wasps themselves are more annoying than the giant wasp. Or the bee, sorry.
Yeah, but I think that was more about distance, and the big one just tries to stay away from you, and obviously we had a lot of ranged power.
I think it also ties into the story, and like how that professor guy, such an annoying character.
Yeah, I know. I mean, even like the whole meteor thing, where he even guessed that he was going to say about different meteor sites that the one they went to was not the right one. It's like,
it seems as though I'm an idiot. It's like, I don't know. Like, I think in some ways, like, I didn't have a problem with the mission structure at all. I thought it was really good. Like, it kind of kept you guessing, and you never really knew what you were going to be doing next. But I think in some ways, like, there wasn't really any continuity. Like, as you said, you'd fight like that mission when we fought the brain, for the first time, and then like, it's like, oh well, we're not even going to see that again for another like 20 missions now.
Yeah, I know.
And then like the next mission has got no real context to the mission before. Like there were maybe like a few instances where there was a bit of a tie-in between the missions. I think there was like one earlier on when they were doing like a big offensive, and you had to get like you were going deeper and deeper into like the ants
nest. Yeah. But yeah, that was true. That was a consecutive kind of mission thing. And they didn't really do that very often.
No.
That. Or at least if they were, it wasn't as apparent.
No, I think also, like, I think maybe it's just my imagination, but if I was to say the further we went through, the dialogue from the story just seemed to dry up a bit.
Yeah, it did. I mean, the dialogue wasn't really... I don't think they ever intended it to be something that was meant to be paid attention to much. I mean, we spent most of the time going, did you hear that? No, what did they say? Oh, okay. You know, I mean, I know we were talking to each other and we were trying to be more vocal towards what was going on and be entertaining, or at least try to be. But we missed out so many different bits that we've been saying. I think not just because it was hard to hear it, but just because it wasn't really important.
I feel like this is coming across as quite a negative review, but I would say I really enjoyed this game. I'm so pleased that we decided to do it for the channel.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I had a lot of fun with it.
Just to give you guys a bit of context, I think I got the game for review, and I started playing through the single player and probably got maybe like 10-15 missions through, and I was like, Nelson, we have to do this game.
No, and when you mentioned it, before it was even coming out, I'd never even played one before, and I was a bit hesitant about what it was going to be like and stuff, and then I started seeing videos and the launch trailers and bits and pieces, and was like, okay, this actually looks fun, I really want to play this now. And then I think when you actually got hold of your copy, or I got hold of mine first, I don't remember which way when we came up with it, we were still finishing off other things on the channel, and I really desperately wanted to play this as soon as possible.
Yeah, and we did. And we have been playing it ever since.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think, pretty much rounds out our thoughts on the game. Like, we had a thoroughly enjoyable time playing it. I think in terms of what's next for the game on the channel, it's really up to you guys. I mean, we're kind of open to doing whatever you want to see.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've gained a lot of views for the channel. Like, we've had interactions, we had a lot of people following what we've been doing. So, if there's anything that you feel we've missed, like you want us to try and fail on a harder difficulty, or like there's any kind of guides or anything like that you want to see, then we can try our best to try and make those happen.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. We've had a blast playing this game, and hopefully you enjoy carrying on watching our videos in the future.
Hi, thanks everyone. Thanks for your support.